Well, there's no question this is a provincial election like you have never seen before. With that electronic counting, this could happen fast. So buckle up your seatbelts. The ride is about to begin on Manitoba Votes 2023.
It is now up to us to make sure that that victory is for all Manitobans.
We will put forth an agenda for change that will be supported by the people of Manitoba and the legislature of Manitoba.
We went higher tonight, didn't we?
I just want to thank all Manitobans for their support tonight.
Our economy grows better when there's more money on the kitchen table and a little less on the cabinet table.
You are looking at the seat of power in Manitoba, near the meeting place of the Red and Assiniboine Rivers, where people have been coming together for thousands of years. We have gathered in the rotunda of this legislative building to give you up-to-the-minute results and analysis of CBC's Manitoba Votes 2023. 189 Manitobans have put themselves forward for the chance to walk up these stairs and be your voice here in the beautiful and historic Manitoba Legislative Building. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Janet Stewart. We want to extend a very warm welcome to everyone watching us across Canada now on CBC News Network. Tonight, we will find out if Manitobans have chosen to stay the course with the Progressive Conservatives at the helm, or if they want to steer this province in a new direction with an NDP government. We have the potential for an evening of firsts in Manitoba. PC leader Heather Stefanson won the job of Premier in a leadership race 2 years ago. If the Progressive Conservatives win tonight, she will be the first woman to lead a party to victory in a Manitoba general election. Or we could see another first if the new Democratic Party wins. Wab Kinew, an Anishinaabe man, becomes Manitoba's first First Nations Premier. The Manitoba Liberals under Dougal Lamont held 3 seats when this election was called. Will they get the breakthrough they've been fighting for, or fall victim to strategic voting? This is also the first time in Manitoba votes in a provincial election are being counted electronically. Results, therefore, could come in fast and furious. And when they do, you will see it happen on this graphic we call the Mini. Things will change here live. You see in this graphic the magic number 29. That's the number of seats you need in this province to form a majority government. You see the number of seats yet to report. And most importantly, the large, colorful numbers. That shows you the number of candidates for each party leading or elected at that moment. Joining me tonight for analysis of these numbers as they come in, Christopher Adams, adjunct professor of political studies at the University of Manitoba. CBC's Marjorie Dowhouse is here to help break down result numbers as they come in tonight. Marjorie?
Thank you very much, Janet. Well, to get a better understanding of the election this evening, I want to take you back 4 years to the last election. Follow me here, and we're going to walk inside this beautiful room that we call the chamber. Now, this is a very important space because this is where your elected representatives go to debate bills, to introduce motions. It's where question period happens. Here's a look at what happened back in 2019 after the last general election, and this is just an illustration to show you how many of the seats each party took. The Progressive Conservatives, the governing PCs, took 36 seats. The NDP held 18 and the Liberals 3. So altogether, Janet, as you mentioned, there are 57 seats here in Manitoba. The party that wins 29 will form a a majority government. Now, let's walk over here because I'm going to show you that the path to forming a government here in Manitoba goes through a number of swing ridings. Here is a look at how the province looked last time in 2019, which ridings each party took. And of course, we're going to be keeping an eye on those swing ridings, a number of them here in Winnipeg. And you can call Winnipeg a battleground here because there are 32 constituencies. And some of the ridings here, those swing ridings that we're going to be tracking, are in Winnipeg South. And they include Fort Richmond, Riel, and Southdale. In the west and the north parts of Winnipeg, McPhillips, as well as Assiniboia. And outside of the city, we're going to be keeping an eye on Brandon East, Selkirk, and Dauphin. There is a lot to keep track of tonight here, Janet, so buckle up, settle in, grab your popcorn. It's going to be an exciting night here tonight, Janet. Thank you very much, Janet. Well, here is a current look at how Winnipeg looks right now as the votes are coming in. You can see some orange, some red. Again, these are where the parties are either leading or elected. I'm going to zoom out here to Manitoba and give you a picture of what it looks like right now. You can see the NDP leading and elected in the north. We see some blue in the south. But let's look a little bit closer at the numbers and the vote share here. So here's the share of the votes right now. And this is for Manitoba, overall for Manitoba. Let's see how this affects the seat change here. You can see there at the bottom of the screen that the NDP are leading or elected in 16, the Progressive Conservatives 7, the Liberals 1.
Seats yet to report. Let's take a look at what's happening in Riel this evening. In Riel, we've got Mike Moyes out ahead. Now, only a 3-vote lead and only one poll reporting, but he's currently ahead of the incumbent, very well-known PC, Rochelle Squires.
Yeah, and this is a seat that the NDP want to win. This is a real bellwether because Riel goes back many, many years, and it has swung back and forth going back the past 2 decades.
We're going to pull up this board here, and we're going to show you the difference here. So the NDP have 50%, over 50% of the vote share here in Winnipeg. That's up 14 points. That is a big jump for them. Progressive Conservatives seeing a little bit of a dip, 32%, just over 32%. That's a loss of 4 percentage points. The Liberals actually still in the double digits. You can see they're 16% of the vote, but a little bit of a drop for them. They've lost 3 percentage points there. Let's take a look now at the seat change because the numbers here are changing so fast. So remember that the NDP had to gain 11 seats from the number that they had in 2019, the 18 seats, to form a majority government here in Manitoba. They look to be gaining 11 seats.
The victory of the candidate, and that riding is Fort Rouge. Wab Kinew, leader of the new Democratic Party, has something to celebrate tonight. Most certainly he's been re-elected in his own riding. Let's take a look at some of these very close battles where they are too close to call. In Tuxedo, where the NDP and PC are battling out with a difference of only 33 votes. Well, we're happy to say that Elections Manitoba has figured the bugs out in the system. We are now getting results. And our CBC decision desk has seen enough and is ready to make the call. CBC is projecting an NDP majority government tonight. For Wab Kinew, it is a clear and historic victory. He will be Manitoba's first First Nations Premier. As we look live at headquarters, Wab Kinew was first elected into the legislature in 2016. Just 17 months later, became NDP leader, and now he's led his party to power. We see people cheering there. They are cheering for Wab Kinew, a 41-year-old Anishinaabe man, father of 3 boys. His wife, Lisa Monkman, is a physician, and he has pledged to fix our ailing healthcare system. Wab Kinew is an author, a former CBC broadcaster, and he was the first director of Indigenous Inclusion at the University of Winnipeg. Inclusion.
This is a look at Winnipeg this evening, the way that this election is shaping up. Look at all that orange. If we compare it to 2019, let's see here. There we go. You can see that the Progressive Conservatives had seats that they won to the west, to the south, parts of the north. And again, currently what it's looking like, and we heard descriptions of this as a wave of orange. And remember, we mentioned too that the party that forms the government has to win battleground Winnipeg. Let's look at the share of the votes right now, the popular vote, the NDP. Look at that.
A CTV News special presentation. Tonight, the battle for Broadway in the hands of voters. Manitobans cast their ballots in the 2023 provincial election as parties fight for power in the Manitoba legislature.
Imagine what we can do with 4 more years.
The Progressive Conservatives campaigning for re-election.
We have the chance to chart a new path for Manitoba.
The NDP fighting to take back power.
If people want a choice, it's there.
And the Manitoba Liberals running on change. CTV News is live with results, analysis, and reaction.
I'm not terribly happy with the direction things are going in.
An election filled with promises on hot-button issues that could swing voters.
Definitely healthcare. It's a healthcare crisis.
We need Indigenous leaders to have a voice for our people.
Paying $5 for a head of lettuce, it's just ridiculous.
Who will lead Manitoba's next chapter? Voters make their voices heard.
They ask what we think, and so this is our way of telling them.
Your Manitoba election coverage starts now. Election 2023 with Marilee Caruso and Renee Rogers.
And welcome to our coverage of Manitoba's 2023 provincial election. I'm Marilee Caruso.
And I'm Renee Rogers. Thank you for joining us. And we'd also like to welcome viewers from across Canada joining us from CTV News Channel. Tonight, Manitobans elect a new government. The polls are now closed and the ballots are being counted. And we will bring you the results live as they come in throughout the evening.
The question tonight is, can the Progressive Conservatives win a third election, or will Wab Kinew and the NDP defeat Heather Stefanson's party? Will the Liberals gain back seats lost in 2019 and regain official party status? And can the Greens finally secure its first seat in the legislature?
The polls have suggested that almost half of Manitobans plan to support the New Democrats, putting a majority government within reach for Wab Kinew. Top of mind for voters this year, health care, the cost of living, and public safety. And we are going to dig deeper into those issues over the next few hours.
We are expecting our first results to come in shortly. And when they do, you will see live updates on your screen. Along the bottom, that is where you will see the total number of seats of leading and elected candidates for each party. And on the right of your screen, you will see results for all of the ridings. This is where you can watch for the results from your constituency. All of that information will be updated live as results start coming in throughout the evening. And you can always find more coverage on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca.
All right, our team is on the ground, ready to bring you the big stories as they unfold tonight. CTV's John Hendricks is at PC headquarters. Jeff Keel is covering the NDP for us. Michael Delamonte is with the Liberal Party, and Taylor Brock is at Green Party headquarters.
Let's begin with John Hendricks. John, how is Heather Stefanson's team feeling tonight? How the legislature looked when the writ was dropped 28 days ago. And here it is. The PCs had a majority government with 35 seats. They actually won 36 in 2019, but had a departure.
All right, let's bring in CTV's Catherine Dow now. She will help us analyze the results tonight, and we'll take a closer look at the data. Catherine, what are we expecting to see tonight?
Well, as we've heard from the polls, and many have speculated, looks like it's going to be a pretty close fight between the incumbent Progressive Conservatives and the Manitoba NDP. But let's remind you what we looked like at dissolution of government. So a bit of a divide here, but as we zoom into Winnipeg, the seat-rich city of ours, a bit of a kaleidoscope as well. But of course, as we zoom back out this all wipes clean tonight as all of these seats are up for grabs, and we'll start to see this light up in a slew of different colors, maybe looking very different towards the end of the night as your votes come in and they are counted. Now, based on a number of factors, including recent polling, riding history, demographic information, our CTV News election team have made a projection on which way the balance of power can fall. And this is a House projection. A reminder, the requirement for this is 29 seats. That is the finish line that they want to get over in order to form a majority government. 29 of 57 seats available in our Manitoba Legislative Assembly. There's that finish line there. So we are projecting the NDP could earn as many to 23 to 39, pulling them over to potentially form majority.
Polls closed, and we have some early results to share with you tonight. We're going to begin in St. Boniface. This is Liberal leader Dougald Lamont's riding. He's the incumbent there, and right now, early on, just 2 polling stations reporting he's trailing to the NDP candidate by 71 votes. Moving over to Kirkfield Park, this is Kevin Klein, the Environment Minister. He also is trailing right now by 71 votes, just 2 polling locations reporting.
And in Fort White, Abby Khan, the incumbent there for the PCs, is trailing right now. It's still early, but the NDP candidate, Trudy Schroeder, in the lead right now.
Over in Lakeside, this is one of those ridings where we don't have an incumbent running, but the PC party did hold this seat. Trevor King is leading by 236 votes with 2 polling locations reporting. Welcome back to Manitoba's 2023 provincial election coverage. 51 minutes after the hour, polls long closed. We can show you a first elected NDP leader Wab Kinew will keep his seat in Fort Rouge. No surprise here. This is seen as NDP stronghold. One of the reasons the party decided to run Wab here, and this is why we can make this call very early in the evening. 2,539 votes. Wab Kinew is leading by with just 4 of 26 polling stations reporting right now.
All right, and we're going to take you to Jeff Keel at the NDP's headquarters. He's standing by with NDP Wolseley candidate Lisa Naylor. And this must be pretty good news, Jeff.
Yeah, it's quite loud here. People are cheering as the results come in. And this is one of those candidates who's been watching the results come in. Lisa Naylor, I mean, how are you feeling about what you're seeing?
I'm feeling pretty excited.
Thanks, Michael. We have breaking news now from the CTV decision desk. CTV News is making the call, declaring an NDP win. It took us a long time for this to happen. You are taking a live shot look right now at NDP headquarters. That news will come trickling in with the delay. They should be getting that news right now. The CTV decision desk declaring the NDP will form the next government. We don't know at this point if it'll be a majority government, a minority government. That's still to be determined tonight.
The polls had indicated that the NDP were going to take this, and we're looking at leading and elected. These are potential seats in Manitoba. PC's losing 11 potentially, the NDP gaining 13, the Liberals losing 2. The Green Party still has yet to add a seat.
All right, thanks, John. We have some breaking news once again for you from the CTV News decision desk. You see it there on your screen. CTV News is making the call, declaring an NDP majority. This means Wab Kinew and his party will reach that 29 seats needed for a majority. We're taking a live look right now at NDP headquarters. You see Union Station, MLA.
Tonight, another chapter begins. Politicians all vying to be next in the halls of power of Manitoba's iconic legislative building, where our province has been shaped for more than a century. Who will lead their party into power? For the last month, they've made their pitches to voters.
Staff up our healthcare system and build new ERs.
The plan to grow our economy.
It's a real choice for real change.
They've taken their shots.
Why are you so intent to keep violent criminals on the streets?
I've never seen
a leader betray his following more than the NDP.
Your cuts have led to tragic consequences for Manitobans.
And now you made the decision. Is a Tory three-peat in the cards? Will Liberal Red take on more power in our province?
You can stop both the NDP and the PCs by voting Manitoba Liberal.
Or will the voters say hello?
How do you do? I'm Wab Kinew.
To a new leader and put Manitoba's NDP at the helm once again. The polls have closed, the votes are in. Who will call this building and this office home for the next 4 years? Decision Manitoba starts now. Welcome to Decision Manitoba 2023, our Global News province-wide election coverage. I'm Lisa Dutton. We're coming to you live, and it's great to have you joining us on all platforms tonight. The polls have just closed, and as soon as data becomes available to us, we'll be bringing it to you. If you're watching on TV, you'll notice to the right of your screen results from each individual riding. They're going to be cycling through. We also have a running seat count. It will show you the total number of seats a party is either leading or elected in. And remember, each party is looking to get to 29 seats, the number needed for a majority. And for our listeners on 680 CJOB, we'll be calling out those numbers for you often as they come in. We have reporters at all of the major party headquarters tonight to help us set the scene as results start to come in. We will check in with them in just a few moments. But first, joining me at the desk tonight as we navigate through the results are 680 CJOB's Loren McNabb and Richard Cloutier. Richard, let's start with you. What are you going to be watching tonight?
Well, but let's go back and take a look at 2019. 4 years ago, 4 years ago might not have been such an exciting night because the Brian Palliser PCs were on their way to cruising to another majority victory. I don't think anybody saw anything other than that coming. But I want to take a look in Winnipeg. Here is the 2019 map for Winnipeg. Once again, this is the 2019 map. And I've been talking about this all week, that if the NDP, in fact, are going to win tonight, they are going to have to break through what I'm calling the blue wall of cabinet ministers, and let me explain. Let's start up here in Radisson. James Teitzma is up there. He is trying to defend. We go to Southdale, and that's where Audrey Gordon, the health minister, is trying to win again, but the NDP think they can knock her off. We go down to La Jamodiere, another cabinet minister. Seine River, another cabinet minister. Here, whoop.
All right, thanks. Now from inside the Manitoba legislature, let's take a look at how we got here. Defending their place on the government benches, the Progressive Conservatives in blue headed into this election with 35 seats at dissolution. The New Democrats in orange with 18 seats. The Liberals in red held just 3 seats at dissolution, and 1 seat was vacant. In total, 57. But on this night, the count starts at 0, and the slate is wiped clean. We're expecting a tight race between the Tories and the NDP. But some of the key issues have Manitobans divided. There are concerns around affordability, health care.
Yeah, let's take a look at where these leading results are. That's very important. That's why we want to say we know that the race is in Winnipeg, and though it's early, listen, if you're the New Democrats, you'd rather be up 11-5 than down 11-5. And right now, every single riding result we have in Winnipeg is a lead for the New Democrats. There's a lot of ridings where we don't have any results, but there's no riding in Winnipeg where the PCs are leading, and that includes Fort White. Right now, Fort White, Trudy Schroeder, it's early, but she's got a 7-vote lead on Abhi Khan. 1 poll reporting, as Lisa mentioned, keep an eye on that. That's Fort White. You don't see the NDP leading in Fort White very often. It's happening now. We mentioned the blue wall of ministers. Kirkfield Park, Kevin Klein is the incumbent. He is behind Logan Oxenham.
I think so. Okay, gains and losses. Let's fire this up and take a look, guys.
So at dissolution, the NDP had, right now they had, no, that's not correct. We had leading and elected in 21. Right now this is from.
So at dissolution, the NDP had 18.
Yes.
The Progressive Conservatives had 35 rather.
35, yeah.
The Liberals had 3. So what's happening now, the gains and the losses, the NDP are at that plus 11 point right now. The PCs have lost 9. Now, the New Democrats, as far as the popular vote is concerned, at 40%, that's Manitoba-wide, PC at 37.7.
Who is leading? Let's round it up, guys, starting with Brandon East.
Okay, so we have the NDP looking to take back a riding that was theirs for years before the Conservatives took it in 2016. So Glenn Simard up over Len Eastlifson. Just 4 votes there.
Very tight there. The exact opposite in Flin Flon, while the NDP, 61.1% of the vote for Tom Lindsay over Charlotte Lacroix. This is an interesting race.
Swan River, I had this on my playbook, or card.
Not
whatever
this
you want
big,
to call
not
it. Maybe
this
not
big,
by this
Lorette.
big, but Swan River, we have the NDP.
Boroughs we see.
No, Fort Rouge. Sorry, guys. NDP, Wab Kinew, we are projecting he has been elected in his riding.
This was an interesting battle considering the rhetoric that went back and forth from the PC candidate, Rajan Caron, but she's way behind in this one. And of course, Boroughs, you mentioned, Richard.
There we go. Again, at the popular vote in Winnipeg versus the rest of the provinces is always interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so the new Democratic Party right now is holding 50% of the popular vote. The Tories at 32%. The Liberals really strong, 15.9%. And I say really strong because they were 14% in the last election or lower, depending on where you were looking. And so that maybe tells you that there might be some changes yet, but not too many because the NDP are really holding strong. In so many
I wish things like debates and platforms and ideas made a bigger difference.
And you did perform very well in the debates. That was the overall thing that we heard from our listeners and from our viewers. It's very difficult to lead when you don't have a seat in the legislature. Do you feel that it's...
What are you talking about?
to lead? Are you going to continue to lead your party?
I just resigned.
Yeah, and that's what I mean in terms of
Sorry, I just resigned.
I understand that, and I was saying it's very difficult to lead when you don't have a seat. So as you look to the future, what do you hope that the next leader will be able to do? That you couldn't, because in all accounts you did so well in the debates and you seem to resonate with the electorate.
I can't answer that. I'm sorry. I cannot.
Our progressive Conservative government has set up our province for great success. Now, I have served in opposition in the past, so I understand the fundamental role that opposition plays in our democracy. As we head to the other side of the House, I can tell Manitobans that the team of PC MLAs that you elected tonight of ours. Thank you so much tonight.
All right, Heather Stefanson has conceded it's going to be an NDP win. However, Global News has not yet projected an NDP majority. Let's start with you, David Aiken, your reaction.
Well, sir, I'll let you react first, Lauren, because you said it, that she looked like a real person. Like the people, I don't know Heather Stefanson as well as you all do, but I've heard she's a wonderful person. People who work for her said, that's her. But we did see, what do they call her, Heartless Heather at times, and that wasn't the real Heather Stefanson. But...
Il est 20h au Manitoba. Les bureaux de vote viennent tout juste de fermer. Évidemment, les Manitobains ont fait leur choix. Mais quel parti formera le prochain gouvernement? Ici, Godlove Kamwa, bienvenue dans cette soirée électorale au Manitoba.
Améliorer le système de santé ici.
J'ai parlé avec des milliers de gens à Saint-Boniface.
Taking affordability seriously.
We need to update our democracy.
Mesdames, Messieurs, bonsoir et merci de nous recevoir chez vous. C'est une émission spéciale au cœur de l'avenir politique de la province. Elle est diffusée en simultané à la radio et sur RDI. D'ailleurs, nous saluons nos téléspectateurs de l'ensemble du réseau de l'information à l'échelle du pays. Évidemment, vous pouvez aussi nous suivre sur notre page YouTube et bien sûr notre site web, ici Manitoba. Je vous invite déjà à vous y rendre pour un complément de notre couverture du scrutin. Eh bien, ce soir, je ne serai pas seul parce que c'est mon collègue Mario de Titio qui est au résultat. Bonsoir Mario.
Bonsoir Godlove.
Alors tout au long de la soirée également, vous verrez défiler les résultats dans les tableaux au bas de l'écran. Et pour bien les comprendre et les interpréter, nous aurons les lumières des deux analystes qui nous accompagnent depuis le début de la campagne électorale. D'abord, Félix Mathieu, qui est professeur à l'Université de Winnipeg et par ailleurs co-directeur de la section francophone de la Revue canadienne de sciences politiques. Bonsoir et bienvenue.
Bonsoir Godlove.
L'autre invité, mon second invité, il est là depuis près de 40 ans. Il a vu passer tant de gouvernements. Il est professeur émérite de sciences politiques. Raymond Hébert, bonsoir.
Oui, bonsoir.
Alors, merci à tous les deux d'être là. Félix, est-ce que vous êtes un bon parieur? Sur qui pariez-vous aujourd'hui?
Je ne suis pas un grand parieur, mais je crois être un bon analyste politique et si je devais miser sur quelqu'un, je miserais sur Wab Kinew et le Parti néo-démocrate.
Ah, Wab Kinew, le chef du NPD du Manitoba. Raymond Hébert, sur qui mettriez-vous votre argent?
Bien, écoutez, je suis un peu comme Félix, je suis un peu frileux. C'est rare qu'on fait des prédictions, qu'on trouve des politologues qui font des prédictions, parce qu'on se trompe tellement souvent. Donc, j'hésiterais, mais évidemment, je pencherais plus du côté de Wab Kinew quand même.
En tout cas, d'ici la fin de l'émission, on verra si vous aviez raison. Toujours est-il que le véritable juge, c'est le peuple manitobain. Et il s'était déjà mobilisé en 2019 à concurrence des 55%, un peu moins qu'en 2016. Mais tout autant qu'en 2011, évidemment, 55% également. En tout cas, le taux de participation, vous le voyez, stagne généralement entre 55 et 57% depuis 2007.
Parti progressiste conservateur en disant que c'est pour ces raisons-là qu'ils l'ont amené, lui, à aller dans la vie politique active.
Alors, je voudrais vous interrompre parce que nous avons nos premiers moments de vérité très attendus ce soir. Justement, ils nous viennent de la circonscription de Fort White, où on peut voir que les néo-démocrates, justement, marquent les premiers débuts, les premiers points. Très bien. Et voilà des chiffres, donc, qu'on vient de voir. Les tout premiers, en tout cas, Mario, qui présentent un NPD très confortable, avec d'ailleurs 2 membres du cabinet qui sont menés à la marque, notamment Rachel Squires et Kevin Klein.
Et tiens, on va revenir souvent, à la carte de Winnipeg, puis voir la différence entre 2019 et 2023. Là, on remarque ces circonscriptions-là, ici, qu'on vient de nommer, Riel, ici, Rivière-Sainte, ici, ainsi que Kirkville Park, qui est juste ici. Mais une circonscription où ça va être intéressant, on l'a mentionné, c'est dans Saint-Boniface. Pour l'instant, on voit Robert Loisel. Ça n'a pas très changé. Ça n'a pas vraiment changé depuis tantôt. Robert Loisel qui mène sur M. Lamont.
On va continuer de suivre. Et d'ailleurs, les choses se confirment puisque Wab Kinew, ici, vient d'être réélu avec cette différence de 2500 voix dans la circonscription de Fort-Rouge. Le discours de Régent Caron n'aura pas tenu longtemps.
Oui, elle n'aura pas tenu. Wab Kinew, qui est réélu, ça sera son 3e mandat. On l'a entendu tantôt, Régent Caron, et on l'a vu surtout aussi dans Fort-Rouge. Moi, c'est ma circonscription et on la voyait sur beaucoup d'affiches sur des poubelles qui disaient « The Wab way is the wrong way ». Les électeurs de Fort-Rouge ont décidé que la façon de Wab Kinew était peut-être la bonne façon si on s'en fie à ces résultats-là. Qui était là? C'est M. Coolan, en fait, qui était là. J'oubliais son nom. Il était là depuis 2004. Ce sera maintenant Grant Jackson. Alors,
cela va de soi, Barry, à 57 circonscriptions que nous surveillons en s'attendant de voir le chiffre 29 atteint ce soir, puisque c'est le nombre magique dans ces élections. D'ailleurs, on peut voir que dans le classement actuel, il y a 10 élus du côté des néo-démocrates, contre 7 seulement pour les progressistes conservateurs. Mais dans le même temps, les néo-démocrates ont 21 candidats qui sont en tête dans leurs circonscriptions respectives, contre 13 seulement pour les progressistes conservateurs, ce qui nettement suscite un commentaire chez vous, Raymond Hébert.
Quelqu'un dans notre famille, soit nous-mêmes ou un mère, un père, un fils
Et bien voilà, à 22h20 heure du Manitoba, Radio-Canada prévoit que si la tendance se maintient, le Manitoba aura un gouvernement NPD majoritaire. Je répète, si la tendance se maintient, les néo-démocrates formeront le prochain gouvernement au Manitoba et ça sera un gouvernement majoritaire. En voilà donc la décision qui est tombée en ce moment, selon Radio-Canada, un gouvernement néo-démocrate majoritaire au Manitoba, ce qui nous conduit d'ailleurs à retrouver Anne-Charlotte Carignan et nos équipes qui sont à l'hôtel Fort Garry ce soir, où se retrouvent les partisans néo-démocrates pour voir comment ils accueillent cette nouvelle de Radio-Canada ce soir, gouvernement néo-démocrate majoritaire. Est-ce qu'ils apprennent la nouvelle? Comment l'accueillent-ils? Est-ce que c'est encore des you-you, des applaudissements qu'on va voir dans les prochaines secondes? Certainement, avec tous les élus qui ont été enregistrés. On peut le voir d'ailleurs, la différence qui est, significative. Et le message est finalement parvenu, dans ce public qui exulte à l'hôtel Fort Garry ce soir, les néo-démocrates qui formeront le prochain gouvernement au Manitoba et un gouvernement majoritaire. En voilà, c'est fait, ça y est. Des résultats qui tiennent finalement la promesse des sondages. On l'avait vu depuis l'écart creusé dans les intentions de vote.
Et dans Tuxedo, c'est pas fini encore pour Mme Stefanson. Bon, elle l'a dit, c'est fini pour elle à la tête de son parti. Est-ce qu'elle sera la députée élue dans la circonscription de Tuxedo? Ça reste à voir. Il reste une boîte de scrutin. Pour l'instant, elle mène par 305 voix. C'est quand même ça aussi, c'est un message dans Tuxedo qui est habituellement une circonscription très forte pour les progressistes conservateurs.